And what we wanted to do to start with was to honor a man that's no longer with us, that supported the truth about cancer from day number 1 last year, and that's Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez. We wanted to, this summer, we began to talk about the fact that we thought we should award Nick a Lifetime Achievement Award. And then in July, Nick passed, and that didn't change the fact that he still deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award. So we have Mary Beth Gonzalez that's here. We're honored that she's here with us today. And what we wanted to do first, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but we're going to do it first, is I put together just a brief video montage of some pictures of Nick and some places that they've gone. But I think it's a good thing to do it first. It's a little bit emotional, but that's okay. I mean, I watched it and cried at my desk in private. So it's okay if it's emotional, but we want to honor Nick. And then after that, Mary Beth's going to come up and say a few words. And then she will, excuse me, she will accept his Lifetime Achievement Award on his behalf. And so let me do the video montage first, and then we're going to get Mary Beth up here to speak.
And it might make you cry, and that's okay. I cried too. Nick was a great man. He still is. He's a perfect man now, isn't he, Mary Beth?
That's right. most grateful not only for participating in this global quest, but that you all have been able to watch a great man, a tremendous healer who has passed from this plane much too soon. Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, a good friend, a dear friend of mine, and his legacy of healing, of empowering you to heal, of bringing that power to heal back where it belongs with you will continue long after. But I continue every day that I breathe and speak and communicate through radio and through this global quest to acknowledge the great works of Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez and what he brought to us all, and a passion and a dedication to really learn and to teach about nutritional ways to prevent and reverse cancer, detoxification protocols. And I hope that he has inspired you as he has inspired me to continue to learn and never stop learning and never stop helping and never stop working to help others who are genuinely in need. And this is why we do what we do, and this is why the Global Quest is also greatly honoring and greatly appreciative of all the efforts of Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, and his works will not perish because of this and because of what you are doing and watching and supporting this global quest. Thank you, Dr. Nick. We love you. We appreciate you.
He supported us from the very beginning, and it means so much to have had his support. And the world is just missing a great star, and of course, heaven's gain our loss.
On behalf of Nick, I would like to thank you for this award and for acknowledging the lifetime of healing work of my husband, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez. I know that Nick would have appreciated the recognition. Nick didn't embark on a pioneering medical career to win awards or to garner fame. He wanted to help people. After completing his medical studies, his internship, his fellowship under the guidance of Dr. Robert Good, Nick spent the next 28 years in clinical practice at his office in New York City, totally dedicated to helping people. He never wavered from that commitment and from his tireless pursuit of making discoveries and real progress in treating cancer with nutritional medicine. In the course of seeing thousands of cancer patients, many of them at late stages, Nick gained incredible insights into how to help people who were very sick with his nutritional protocol. And during the past decade, Nick published 4 books about his therapy and the work of his predecessors, Drs. John Beard and William Donald Kelly. With expert help, I am now finishing and publishing the case report book that Nick had almost completed at the time of his death. A detailed review of 100 of his best cases, all of long-term survival. Nick was a scientist and a scholar as well as a clinician, and the book is scientifically rock solid, and it will ensure that his reputation for the years to come, and it will help untold numbers of cancer patients as medicine hopefully continues its long trajectory towards more open-mindedness as far as nutritional, natural therapeutics are concerned. And tonight, I'm so pleased to announce a new 501c3 foundation to promote Nick's legacy and share his teachings with the world. The Nicholas Gonzalez Foundation's first project will be the publication of this 100 case report. Now, Nick often said, there is no alternative medicine. There's only scientifically valid medicine that has been shown to work. And when we look back in history, we see that what was once considered new or alternative is often eventually proven to work. And it takes its rightful place as part of mainstream medical practice. As we have come to know too well, however, the process is rarely smooth and easy, and it requires much determination and strength. Nick believed, and he showed us time and time again, that his innovative approach to healing worked, usually far better than the standard therapies that represent the status quo today. George Orwell said, "In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act." Well, Nick sought out and spoke the truth, no matter the consequences. His motivation is reflected best in these comments that he wrote to his dear friend, Peter Barichowka, and I'd like to leave you with Nick's words. "You inquired how I could stand the criticism. It's only because of God and my belief in Him. God led me to Dr. Kelly, and I trust God completely. If He wants my work to survive, it will survive, no matter how stupidly I behave. If He doesn't want it to survive, it won't, no matter how perfectly and smart I behave. It's all up to Him. And my job is simply to do the best job possible." Thank you, Ty and Charlene, for this lovely event and for honoring the revolutionary work of my husband, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez.
So, thank you, Mary Beth. And one of the things that the words that you quoted from Nick is about science-based. It's interesting that this Lifetime Achievement Award that we're presenting to Dr. Gonzalez, to Mary Beth on his behalf, is the Trailblazer in Science-Based Cancer Treatments Lifetime Achievement Award. And Mary Beth, before you leave, we have one more thing for you that is heavy. And we have, for all of the award recipients tonight, we do have some really nice carrying cases for you that we can put them in that won't break. But we have one more thing for you. Brianna, if you would come up. One of the things that Mary Beth just mentioned is that they just opened up a foundation in Nick's honor, the Nicholas J. Gonzalez Foundation. And we wanted to donate $30,000. Hold it up. Hold it up, honey. Wow, that's it's awesome to remember what Dr. Gonzalez has done and what he has done for everyone in this room, because we what's the quote that my success is built on standing on the shoulders of geniuses, right? And he's definitely one of those geniuses that this realm of natural cancer treatments and science-based cancer treatments will, for years to come, build upon his science-based research. So we're eternally grateful for Dr. Gonzalez, and we're happy to start the contributions flowing to the foundation, and we'll continue to help.
We're proud of you, Mary Beth, and we love you, and I think everybody in this room could say the same. We'll all support you as long as God gives us breath. Thank you.
Now, we do have more award recipients, but at this point we're going to present some donations to charities that support natural cancer research. And then after that, we're going to come back to some more of the Lifetime Achievement Awards. So the first award that we are going to, or the first donation that we're going to make is to the ICRF. They have been with us since day one, supporting our work, and we've given to them each of the last couple of years. But we want to give $30,000 to the ICRF. Charity, come over here. Charity, come over here. Come over here. Get next to Mommy there.
Hi, Gary. It's good to see you again.
Good to see
An
you.
old friend of ours. We just love you and what you're doing. Can you share with us what this money means to you, what you think this will go to help?
Well, in thinking about it, first of all, thank you for the funds. This will add to the seed money that we've been accumulating and using on projects, for a number of years now. I think back to the Old Testament prophet Hosea, where he says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." And so when we think about the Independent Cancer Research Foundation and the website that Webster Kerr originally created, it's the key word knowledge that we feel we have a charge to take on and to continue to present the information. We get a lot of hits, 15,000 more every day, and I'll tell you, 2016 is going to be a very big year for the ICRF. We're going to use these funds. We've got some great things happening in the works right now. As Webster goes off and retires in about 3 weeks, much of the information will be made even easier to understand, so more people can have that knowledge to go out and fight their battles, their disease, and have some wins. And so with that, we thank both you and Ty and the whole group here and all of you. Many of you we know that have contributed to this organization for many years. So I'll leave it at that and say thank you.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Next is Healing Strong. This is Susie and Jeff Griswold are here, and we're so thankful for you. I've spoken at numerous events. Charlie and I were privileged to speak at a Healing Strong event just last month down in Atlanta, and so we're really thankful to be able to donate to Healing Strong. But if you would hold it up so they can see it, honey. We're going to give $30,000 to Healing Strong.
Susie, it's so good to see you again. Well, we just want to hear from you, your sweet voice, and just share with us what this money means to Healing Strong and where you see it going and what it's going to do to help the folks out there.
First, thank you guys so much for just your amazing generosity and just for doing this. I can't believe I'm standing here. You guys are our heroes. Healing Strong is all about the people who are fighting cancer naturally. And I just thank you for everything that you do every day. It gives flight to our wings. But Healing Strong is 100% volunteer driven. We don't have any paid staff. We don't pay for any rent. Every bit of this will go back out to the Healing Strong groups that we have. We have 15 new groups starting next year. And our goal is to see a Healing Strong group in every city. It is really important when people fight this disease naturally that they have personal connections and they can sit and talk to you and say, really, you really did the Gonzalez protocol, you really did the Gerson protocol. And what you guys are doing helps us to educate them. And so our Healing Strong groups are in homes, they're in community centers with natural food stores. I mean, they can start them wherever they want to. So this is going right back out and supporting the Healing Strong groups. So we're excited.
And Bryce, could you bring it up to them? Walk in front there, buddy. We want to donate $30,000 to Cancer Crackdown as well.
Well, here we are again with Tara and Steve and Cancer Crackdown. Last year we enjoyed getting to know them a little better. Well, getting to know them actually, but we celebrated and donated to this amazing cancer charity. When we get a cancer patient and they need help, she's our go-to. These two right here, and we're just honored to have you here. And we just want to ask you so that you could share with everybody here what this money means to your organization. What are you going to do with this money? Where is it going to go? And who's it going to help?
Well, I first want to say the most important thing, and that is I want to thank God. We've had to trust a lot in the changes that we have made in our life to be here today. And He has led us in all the right places, and especially to you and Ty. Early on in my confusion and research, I found the book, Cancer Step Outside the Box, and it gave me comfort. And so I thank God first, and I thank you and Ty, because last year when we did meet you in Asheville, it was the story of how we met is so amazing, but God woke us up that morning and said, you're going to Asheville, and we did. But what this means, most importantly, it means that there are single mothers fighting cancer at home alone. There are retired people on fixed income that are passionate about natural therapy, but know that there's no way that they would never be able to afford it, that are now going to get tools to be able to heal, to be able to get juicers, to be able to figure out how to juice. That's what this is all about, and that's why our lives shifted so dramatically, because God showed us why we're here, and all of the things that we have been through as career and business people were all leading up to preparing us for Cancer Crackdown and for a place for people to call home when they're scared and afraid and know that they don't want to do chemo. But every time they turn around, either their doctor or a family member or even sometimes their spouse tells them that they're crazy and that they're going to kill themselves if they don't go have chemo. So those people need a special kind of help. All cancer fighters do, but natural cancer fighters need help and they need support. And they are learning more and more every day that there's a family, there's a community here for them, and they're not alone. And I say, oftentimes you're not alone. I know a lot of them feel alone. They're not alone. And this room full of all these heroes, everywhere you look, is so amazing, because you're the reason that people are gaining more and more confidence for natural therapies. And the quest and what you have done is groundbreaking. And natural therapy is getting sexy again. So thank you very much for that. We thank you so much.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Steve and Tara. And last but not least on our list is the AACI, the American Anti-Cancer Institute. Bob Wright's here. And Tara participated in the Quest for the Cures, the global quest as well, and so did Bob. We interviewed Bob multiple times over the last couple of years. And this is a charity that, Bob, did you found this charity? I thought you were the founder. And we wanted to donate $30,000 to the American Anti-Cancer Institute. Thank you, sweetie.
Well, we're honored to have you here, and so pleased about everything that you're doing in the world. For people just looking for answers, you have them, and you're working hard to get them out there. So I just want to say thank you from all of us for everything that you're doing. And now we want to hear from you, what this money means to you, to your organization. What do you see this doing?
Well, thank you very much to all of you. I'm honored to be here with this crowd. I've talked to many of you, I've met many of you, some I have not. And I was really serious about trying to bring this natural health community together. Do I have about 30 minutes, Sharon?
Sure, you do.
Okay. What this means to us is we're like many of the other organizations in that we work on almost zero overhead. We put everything that we are able to earn or that is contributed to us back into the pot for cancer patients. That's what we've always done. And hopefully that's what we'll always do, even as we're growing and expanding, which we hope to and anticipate that we will in the coming year. But this money, as I told Ty earlier, goes into a separate pot all by itself to explicitly pay no overhead to help cancer patients. And that's exactly what we're going to do with it. And we do that many different ways. I mean, I've crisscrossed the country in the last 4 or 5 years doing well over 100 seminars. And these are free to people. I wrote the book Killing Cancer Not People, now in its 3rd edition. That's been our major fundraiser for the last 4 years. And even though I wrote it, I gave the book to the AACI, so all the funds could go to helping cancer patients. So I guess we kind of, you might say we're walking the walk. And I think that most of us here do that. I was talking to Dr. Tenpenny a little while ago, and we were talking about our frustrations. Many of you have seen these at times too. And I've been one of those. We founded this organization 8 years ago, and many times I've thrown my arms up in the air and said, you know, that's it. You can't make bricks with no straw. Many of you have been to that point. And, but God always appeared. Something happened to drive me on and to drive this organization on. And I'm delighted. I don't think I could do anything else. And I'm not in it for the money. We'd all be doing something else, wouldn't we? And so I'm grateful. We have great anticipation that we're going to grow exponentially this year. And willing to talk to all of you about that, because we hope that you're all involved. Because we understand it's not about us. It's not about the AACI or the IWARC, the International Wellness and Research Center. It's about this movement that we have that has to succeed. And it has to succeed rather rapidly. And I hope you all agree with that. But we've got to make some major changes. We need to pull together. I think the time has passed when we can just solely do our own thing. This needs to be about us, not about me. And I think we're really ginning up a way to do that, and we hope that you will all participate. And I think great things are going to happen starting this next year. I think we're really close. So again, I'm kind of in awe to be here. I've been around for a while, but we're looking at some of the finest minds. I met a chiropractor, Dr. Jockers, earlier, and I said, "Are you a medical doctor?" He says, "No, I'm a chiropractor." And I said, "Oh, the best kind." Because they really understand. They understand the human body and how it works. They understand the human immune system and how it works. They can take cancer, walk it backwards, and tell you why you have it. Ergo, they can tell you how to heal it. That's how it works, folks. That's what we practice every day at the American Anti-Cancer Institute. And we are sincerely grateful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So that concludes our charitable donation segment. And we're actually only about 10 minutes behind schedule, so I'm pretty happy. Now we have some more of the Lifetime Achievement Awards that we want to give. And the first one that we're going to give is to Webster Kerr, the cancer tutor. And I want to tell a quick story about Webster. You can come on up. As I mentioned, he's the first person that I began reading his website when I learned about natural treatments for cancer, and his cancer tutor website's phenomenal. And everyone knew who Webster Kerr was, and I asked him to write a foreword for my book that I published in 2006, and he said, "Sure, I'll be glad to." And he wrote a fantastic foreword. He's always supported us with our cancer books, and now with The Truth About Cancer. So we're going to come up here this way, hon. So come on up, Webster. We wanted to give you a Lifetime Achievement Award, and of course, since it is Webster Kerr, the name of the award is the Cancer Tutor Lifetime Achievement Award.
Anytime there is a large gathering of world-class cancer researchers, Ty Bollinger is in charge. So thank you, Ty. As I ride off into the sunset, I have no worries about the ICERA. I have no worries about the Cancer Tutor website. Gary Teal and Reggie Black and Mike Prentice and others will take good care of it. So I thank all of you, and it's been a delight to know you.
Thank you, Webster. And I'm not exaggerating. You talk to anybody that has done research on natural cancer treatments, and 9 out of 10 will say, you know, one of the first websites I looked at was cancertutor.com. I mean, it's just a fact. That's reality. So thank you for all that you've done, Webster. Next is Mike Adams, the health ranger. Mike Adams. Come on up, Mike. Mike was actually after Cancer Tutor, Mike's naturalnews.com website was the other website that I literally spent hours each day reading articles, because he's just got the best information about not only cancer, but just health and nutrition in general. And so, Mike, you were instrumental in the early years for us, and you still are. You've supported us since day one with The Truth About Cancer. You were kind enough to do the first interview I mentioned earlier, last year with The Quest for the Cures. So thank you for all that you're doing and all that you've done. And, of course, with Mike, with what he's done, the name of this award is the Lifetime Achievement Pioneer in Natural Health and Food Science Award.
Can I make a couple of announcements?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yep.
First of all, if any of you got lost in the jungle out there, I did too. I got lost and I kept walking, and I ran into, finally, after 30 minutes, there's an Amazonian tribe out there that speaks Quechua. They're medicine men out in the forest.
Nice.
And I hate you with stinging nettles too. It's great. First of all, I just want to thank you, Ty, and thank you so much for all your effort. But I've got a couple of practical announcements, and then I want to say something that might be interesting. They gave the microphone to the health ranger. This is going around. Number one, we want to give back to this community, not only through our publishing and our website work, but also even financially. And so, Ty, no one here has known about this announcement, but I was so moved by the announcement of the nonprofit, the Gonzalez nonprofit, and the importance of publishing that work, that we're going to match the Truth About Cancer donation. We're going to add another $30,000.
Wow.
And it's in the spirit of knowing that nothing can replace your loss, Mary Beth, but the very important work and wisdom of your husband must continue. And we want to do everything we can to make it continue. And I'll keep this brief, Ty, so don't worry.
Take your time.
The most astonishing thing here is that I have met for the first time so many people that I have known in this industry, people like Dr. David Jonkers and like Sherry Tenpenny. I've known you for years. I've known many, many people for many years, and I rarely see Robert Scott Bell. I haven't seen him for years. But here we are tonight, face to face, getting to talk and share ideas. And I've met many other extraordinary people like Jonathan here, part of this team that produced this work, and to see Casey Krejci's wonderful sons here, who are a shining example of the real future of America, I think. I just want to emphasize this system, the system of medicine that is out there today, will fail. That cancer poison paradigm will collapse. It will be replaced, and it will be replaced by the visionaries right here, like Dr. Brzezinski, and so many others, Dr. Batar, so many others here, the visionaries. We are the revolutionaries in medicine. All we have to do is be here when the time comes that people are looking for the alternative to the system that has failed them. The failure of that old system based on poison and profit, I believe, is approaching more quickly than we could imagine. It will be like the fall of the Berlin Wall. It will happen suddenly, overnight, and millions upon millions of people will be looking for the answers that you have already documented, that so many people in this room have already documented and proven, and that the book coming out will document, and we'll be able to tell those stories, and that will be a new hub of information for people. This is what matters. All we have to do to win is keep
doing what we're doing. That's it.
Take it.
It belongs to you. You earned it.
Thank you, Mike. I tell you, Mike is a very talented public speaker. Nobody was wanting you to cut off early, believe me. Very interesting. Thank you. Next Lifetime Achievement Award. Good friend of mine, Dr. Darrell Wolf. He has supported us since day one. He was in the Quest for the Cures last year. And he is the complete, well, he's almost totally the reason that I began to learn about detoxification being important in health almost 10 years ago. And so Dr. Darrell Wolf, please come up, and we are awarding you the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Doc of Detox Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you so much. And I don't know really where to start. This is, it's so big. You know, it's one of those you have to pinch yourself, you know. I love my work. It's everything to me. And to be associated with people like you, it's everything. If we stay together and we train each other and teach each other what we know, and we share everything that we have and don't hold back, we can take it all back and we can give it back to the people that deserve it. Thank you for this award.
Use two hands on that thing. They're heavy. They are literally 20 pounds. The next Lifetime Achievement Award is a man that has probably been recognized as being in the front line of being persecuted for his outside-the-box type of treatments, and that would be Dr. Stanislaw Brzezinski. He has, I remember in the late 1990s, I remember hearing about this doctor in Houston that was using some kind of a weird therapy, which is what they tell you, right? You listen to the news, he's using some really weird therapies and patients are dying, and that's not the truth. But he was in the news even then being persecuted because he was using treatments that were not approved. And the reality is that his patients are living long time after his treatment, his anti-neoplaston treatment. And he was just telling me in the car this morning when I picked him up at the airport that one of the patients that has been cured of pancreatic cancer for the last 6 years actually testified against him in Texas last week, 2 weeks ago, at the trial, correct? So Dr. Brzezinski, we want to honor you because for the last 25 to 30 years, you've been on the front lines, and this is a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's called the Frontline Medical Freedom Fighter Award.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you all for this great honor, this prestigious award. I must say this is the second time anybody gave me the award for cancer research. First time this was His Holiness the Pope. Next time this was you. Well, we are facing unprecedented attack on the art of practicing medicine. For centuries, the medicine was pure art. But suddenly everything changed. It's like a big bang. This was the ciphering of the structure of the human genome. Suddenly, medical science exploded, and it continues to accelerate these days. It was realized that cancer is highly personalized disease. Every case is different, and every case requires special treatment plan. One size does not fit all. And this requires precisely great experience and great medical knowledge. It requires the art of practicing medicine. And this is now under very serious attack. There is no money in practicing the art, but there's a lot of money in practicing mediocre treatment, which is based on the principle one size fits all. And the results are horrible. Unfortunately, there's a competition between big business, which is promoting the first type of treatment, and small group of people like you who would like to have freedom to practice the art of medicine, to select the doctor and to select the treatment. Over a number of years, together with my wife, Barbara, together with a group of dedicated doctors, we perfected the treatment of the worst type of cancers. With my discovery of angioblastomas and also combination of targeted therapy, we were able to provide long-term survival cancer-free for horrible cancers like glioblastoma, like pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, mesothelioma, and many others. Not just only 5 years, but over 10 years, over 20 years, almost for over 30 years. These people are alive. They live normal life. They had short episode of cancer treatment, they got rid of this, and they go about the living. Now, they have not only children, they have grandchildren after you get rid of their cancer. So what happened? Well, no good deed goes unpunished. One thing is to do not have treatment. The other thing is to know that we have treatment, but this treatment is suppressed. We didn't hide our results. We presented this in numerous first-class articles in peer-reviewed journals. We presented this at numerous congresses. We shared this with the other doctors. Anybody of you can use the combination of targeted medications approved by FDA and get rid of GBM tumors from the skin in 2 months without side effects and save many hundreds lives. There are 50,000 people in the United States suffering from GBM, and are going to die, and they can be saved. Why the other docs are not doing? Because they're scared to death seeing what happened to us. 30 years of stupid, endless harassment by Texas Medical Board, and this does not seem to end. By people who know very well what they do. They know very well that we are saving the lives of all these cancer victims, and they are educated lawyers, they're educated people, but they have the blood of cancer victims on their hands. They need to be exposed. They should not be in their offices. This needs to be investigated, and the freedom of practice medicine should be given back to medical doctors. And this is what this is about. So I'm hoping that this award will give us stimulus to bring back the freedom to the people which belongs to them. And I hope that with your help, this will be accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. The next Lifetime Achievement Award were given to a man that has spent the last couple of decades doing cancer research and actually coaching cancer patients via telephone. Many patients can't afford to go to a clinic. They can't afford to do any kind of a treatment that's costly at all. And so this man has been one of the most prominent cancer coaches over the last couple of decades, and is a man that has supported us from day one. When I published the book in 2006, Bill Henderson was there supporting us and telling people that there's some information in this book that they should want to read. And it's directly because of Bill that the book took off. No exaggeration. In 2006, when he published a review of my book, it was in September of 2006, the book went through the roof. And it was because of a great endorsement from this man that is a walking brain of cancer treatments, not natural cancer treatments. And the Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Bill Henderson, cancer coach and educator. We're honored that you're here.
Well, thank you, folks. All of you here have inspired me so much that I could spend the rest of the night talking about how you've done that for me and kept me going. I'm only going to be 84 next month. I plan to go another 30 years or so here. And watch this exponential curve go to the ceiling. These two people here basically have started this, okay? I would have loved to do it myself, I didn't, but they did. And they've done such a beautiful job. I first learned of Ty when I read his book. I was so impressed by it. We got in touch. I wrote I guess the first testimonial on Amazon for his book, and felt that it was the least I could do. Strangely enough, most of you may not recall, but a few months or weeks later, I heard that both Ty and Charlene had decided that they needed to take their family to New Zealand because of the threats he'd gotten over the book. Cancer stepped outside the box, all about his family and how they had died of conventional treatment and how he learned to help people like you and me and everybody in the world. And they had to move to New Zealand. God bless them. And I prayed for them a lot. And fortunately, they came back here with the faith to take this to the ceiling. And believe me, they're doing it. God bless them. Thank them so much. I love them both. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for the kind words, Bill.
Yes, thank you.
The next Lifetime Achievement Award goes to a lady that has taught us more about the truth about vaccines than anyone that I know. I've learned more over the last decade from Dr. Sherry Tenpenny and Charlene as well about the truth about vaccines. Not the propaganda, but the truth. And this Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who also was kind enough to grant us interviews in the quest for the cures. And this is, you ready for this? The Vanguard in Vaccination Verity Award. To Dr. Sherry Tenpenny.
I'm the only one that knows the notes. Everything else off the top of your head. Thank you so much. And you know, I got interviewed by The Truth from Cancer because of Robert Scott Bell. Because of everything that, of all the times that I've been on Robert's show and good friends we are. And we were at Jonathan Emord's event last year and he called and got us connected and that's how that whole thing kind of came about. So, you know, I've been doing this for a long time now and can stand really solidly on the fact that vaccines are safe, effective, protect you, and they're very harmless. Absolutely the opposite of that. And everybody always asks me, you know, patients will always say, well, isn't there like one vaccine? Isn't there like any vaccines? Isn't there like something you should get? And the answer is no, a little poison is still poison. And that there's, you know, nothing, whatever's coming through that needle is not an inside, health is an inside out phenomenon. And what I talked about with The Truth About Cancer was that, because I said to Ty, I said, what do you want me to talk about with like cancer and vaccines or something? He said, wasn't there something about the fact that they've never been tested for carcinogenicity and mutagenicity? I said, oh yeah, that thing. And so that's what we're sort of talking about. And my big concern is now that we passed healthy people, or now that they passed HB 277 in California, and that's the vaccine mandates for all school children. And it's already being published in the public health literature, saying that that is to be the model legislation for all 50 states. And they're already starting to pepper that in. And for people that know a lot or don't know a lot about what the Healthy People 2020 statutes are all about, I feel like we've got about 4 years to really fight this and not to be able to make sure that we still have a right to choose and a right to refuse. And my other big concern is that they published the adult vaccination plan in February of this year. It's the second release. And what they did along with that was to release an implementation plan. And I'm about halfway through a book now on adult vaccination. They're coming after you next because that's where they are. And I feel like we've got about one generation left because of this mutagenicity and carcinogenicity that's never been tested, because they started using the hepatitis B vaccine at birth in 1991. They also started the Hib vaccine at 2 months of age in 1991. Well, children who were born in 1991 are about 24. And all of those vaccines, those 49 doses of 16 different vaccines that they got, they're now to the age where they're starting to get married and have children. And what they are already going to be bringing in mutagenicity and carcinogenic changes that are not being documented to the next generation. And when those children are born, and now they get forcibly vaccinated of what's coming down the pipe, and there are 141 vaccines in the developmental pipeline right now, mostly targeted towards adolescents and adults. And there are 13 approved vaccines right now for adults. And if we don't take the time now to get it, everybody here has networks and friends and loud voices to be able to get people very riled up about this from a grassroots perspective. By 2020, my big concern is that we really won't have any choices left, not only for our children and our grandchildren, but not for us. And for the first time, I've seen it in a paper that I read last week, that they talked about the implementation plan could be, this isn't done yet, but could be tied to a passport, whether or not you can leave the country or come back in. It could be tied to renewal of your driver's license. It could be tied to showing your papers if you go to a basketball game or a football game. If you could even go to the grocery store in a public place. They're coming after teachers next, and then they're going to go after anybody who works in a public place. So I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity and to share this with everybody and all the things that I know that, like with Rashid and a lot of other people, I mean, we've all been, and Mike Adams, I mean, we've all been pretty loud, and Robert Scott Bell, about getting people to say, no, we need to get ahead of the curve. So perhaps that's the next thing, we'll do the truth about vaccines the next time or something.
Sounds great. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. The truth about vaccines, you heard it here first. Next, with our Lifetime Achievement Awards tonight, is a man that has supported us since day one as well. He is a trendsetter in what's called superfood nutrition. And I don't know who coined the term, but he was the first one I heard use it. And it's a result of the products that he created for his wife when she had all kinds of issues, health issues, that I think that my family is so healthy now because we use his products. And Casey Krejci has changed the lives of millions of people worldwide by providing the highest quality superfoods for them to obtain optimal nutrition from. And so, Lifetime Achievement Award, Casey Krejci, if you would please come up, brother. And this award is appropriately titled the Trendsetter in Superfood Nutrition Lifetime Achievement Award for Casey Krejci, the founder of Living Fuel.
Bless your time, Charlene. What you've done is absolutely amazing. It's such a blessing. It's the class, magnificence you've done with it is amazing. I would be remiss if I didn't first thank my Lord Jesus Christ, through whom all healing comes. Sometimes it comes through revelation, and sometimes it comes through His power directly. But secondly, Monica, would you please come up here, love? Without this woman's without your love and support and wisdom and counsel and dedication, I would not be standing here today. She is my inspiration for sure. It was a little better than 2 decades ago when my wife, who within the 5 years prior to that was Miss Florida USA. She competed both Miss America and Miss USA. She won a talent award at Miss America with classical piano. She got 3rd runner-up at Miss USA, first in swimsuit. You can tell she's magnificent. She came down within a couple of years of marriage. She came down with panic attacks and suicidal thoughts and clinical depression. And this was before I was even into all this. I was the CEO of a medical device company at the time. And Monica, we went to the regular doctor. And the doctor said, here, take this Xanax, and take this Zoloft, and go over here and see this psychotherapy. And I asked the question, I said, well, how long do you have to do that? And their answer is, you know, we just don't know. Sometimes you just have to keep taking it, you know, for the rest of her life. And so Monica took the Xanax and the Zoloft and the psychotherapy. But she only took it for 2 weeks. She did not like no highs and no lows. She did not like still having the issue and still medicating the issue and just becoming a different person, a zombie. So literally, she flushed the medication at that point. And we knew it was not God's will for my wife to be a patient for life, my young, fearless wife to be a patient for life. It was at that time that I decided I was going to dive in the literature and I was not coming out without an answer. And over 10 years of research and trial and error, my company was born, our company was born, our best-selling books were born. Monica had not had a drug in 20 years. The picture of health. The Bible talks in Isaiah about by the stripes of the Lord that we are healed. And it's interesting that he sets it up that it's about our stripes that others are healed. And it's a fascinating way that you get a passion that we've now helped thousands of people overcome their own health situations. And you know, I look around me today and I humbly stand here getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. But what am I? I'm just a vessel. I stand on the shoulders of many of you. A lot of you are doing the research that I'm reading and that I'm basing all the pieces of the puzzle I'm into performance nutrition, I'm into cancer nutrition, I'm into anti-diabetic nutrition. I've studied all of these areas, but I didn't do the primary research you guys did and a lot of others. And so it's that information that I'm taking and I'm getting great revelation off of that information. And it's just fantastic. But I look around, I look at Ty and Charlene and the information you're putting out there. And I look at Mike Adams, and I look at Robert Scott Bell and many others in here who are reading the research. Because see, about 20 years ago, Joe Mercola said to me something that was very interesting. He said that if a well-meaning physician comes out of medical school and he is committed, absolutely committed in his life, to reading one full research study every single day. Now, you understand how impossible that is with your schedules as a doctor. And reading one abstract every single day. He says, within 24 months, that doctor is 400 years behind in the research. So when I say to you, I admire and love the guys I mentioned, Mike and Robert Scott and Ty, one of the things that I love about you guys, you don't realize how important you are to my success and our success, is because it's not only that you guys are doing the research, but there are so many medical journals and so many pieces of research that are just valid and powerful and amazing. And they're right there in the major journals. You can flip it and see them right in the journals, but nobody's focusing on those ones. They're focusing on the ones that are standard of care and how can we continue the standard of care. And that is what you, Mike, are doing, and you, Robert Scott, are doing, and you guys are doing, is that you are finding the jewels. You are mining for the jewels, and you are writing about them. And people like me are reading those things and saying, oh my goodness, that is a piece of the puzzle. And that is a piece of the puzzle. And this guy's doing research that's causing, doing amazing things. And Sherry Tenpenny, I mean, that is another piece of the puzzle. So what I want to say is I humbly accept this award, but I accept it on behalf of all of you and the work that you've done, and that all I've done has been a vessel for that work. And I just praise God for all of you. Without you, what I have done would be nothing at all. So the things that we are able to pick up through all your research is that every disease has foundational issues to it. I mean, we have inflammation, oxidation, glycation, angiogenesis. All of these things are foundational, particularly in cancer. And we know now that you can modulate every single one of these things with the right nutrition. And so we have focused on those areas that our superfood nutrition actually are modulated in all of those areas. We focused on having the right proteins and the right amino acids. And not only just this ORAC, because And antioxidants are a broad spectrum. Oxidants are a broad spectrum. So you have, peroxide nitrites, you have peroxyl, hydroxyl, and superoxide anhydride. You have all these various types of antioxidants. So this isn't just about having your vitamin C. You have to understand it's a broad spectrum. So we've incorporated all of these things we've learned from all of you in trying to do what we do. And so thank you for making what we do help countless lives continue. And I heard something said today, that prevention is the ultimate cure. And that's where we're at. Yes, we do help people that are in situations that have cancer. But if you really pay attention, the research is very clear that you can minimize your risk of cancer if you make some good decisions now. God bless you. Thank you so much for this. I receive it on behalf of you all.
Next Lifetime Achievement Award is a man that we've known for about the last, 8 years now.
Yeah, we met him and his beautiful wife in Panama.
Yeah, Dr. Rashid Buttar, and been a really dear friend to us. We tease each other a lot, but
We love this man.
he's a man that has, very much like Dr. Brzezinski, has been heavily persecuted in the state of North Carolina for treating cancer successfully. And so, and Dr. Buttar also, I mentioned Dr. Wolf earlier, that we've learned a lot about detoxification from Dr. Wolf, but learned a heck of a lot from you as well since that time. Congratulations, brother. And so we wanted to present Dr. Rashid Buttar a Lifetime Achievement Award for being an innovator in advanced medicine and detoxification. And the reason that we named this is because one of the things that he said, he was kind enough to participate in all of the quests for the cures thus far, is he said, what we practice is not alternative medicine. You hear about this being alternative. He said, this is not alternative. This is advanced medicine. And you're absolutely correct. This is advanced medicine. This is science-based medicine. So we proudly present to you the Innovator in Advanced Medicine and Detoxification Lifetime Achievement Award.
First, I want to thank Ty and Charlene, and most importantly, I want to give credit where it's due, and that credit belongs to the Creator. All healing comes from the Creator, and as said by the gentleman back there, I don't have the pleasure of knowing you, but I learned a long time ago from my father when I was 15 years old. He taught me a prayer in Arabic. It was Azhabil Bas Rabbin Nas, which means, God, please allow this individual to heal and allow me to be the conduit. So I know that all credit belongs to him, and it's actually very interesting. We should actually do a study on this. The more credit you give to the Creator, the more extraordinary results you seem to get clinically. So I don't understand that, but I keep on doing it. I'd like to take this opportunity to preach and make a comment that I noticed what Ty and Charlene did with all the contributions to all these non-charities, to all these charities. There's a poem from a book that my dad had given me when I was a kid. And the poem is, I argued with life for a penny, only to find dismay that anything I would have asked of life would have paid. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the charitable organizations, but I would like to talk about sustainability. And I think with the exception of what Ty and his partner John have done, Mike Adams would be, put aside all the clinicians, but what Ty and John have done and what Mike Adams does, it's sustainable. And meaning that it is creating a movement that allows for others to benefit, and I would challenge those charitable organizations to become sustainable. Because right now your sustainability depends upon the graciousness of Ty and John and what they've created. And the reason I say this, we do charitable things, but we do it for patients that need it. It's usually people, we don't ever advertise it because suddenly everybody will do charity, so we don't do that. But with children, we've actually made it a pretty big thing for what we do with cancer. So I would like to challenge those charitable organizations to find a model that makes you independent and sustainable so that you can truly help more people. Because as blessed as you were to have received the awards that Ty and John have put on you, you can only help so many people. And so that would be the challenge that I would put out to you. And hopefully there's ways and models that we can help them maybe do that. And the last thing that I would like to talk about is really where I think cancer is going. I think Dr. Brzezinski mentioned this. I think some other people have mentioned it. When Dr. Tenpenny said about what about vaccines and cancer? Oh, okay, yeah, the mutagenicity and the carcinogenic components of vaccines. I believe that these chronic diseases, cancer, autism, many of these things come actually from what we put into the body. And one of the things in my book that I wrote that came out in 2010, in that book I talk about the 7 toxicities. The 5th toxicity, I believe, is the most crucial in cancer. And that is an emotional psychological toxicity. And that's where that emotional aspect, Robert Scott Bell doesn't know anything about this. So this is really more for Robert Scott Bell. Actually, I'm being very facetious because Robert and I talk about this almost every other week on our radio show for the last 5 years. But that is really one of the places that I think we also need to think about. And why do I say that? Because once you've treated so much cancer, you realize that why is it that the stage 2B cancer with no multi-organ systemic components, no metastasis, relatively not a big deal, that patient dies. And why is it that stage 4 cancer that's failed chemo, that's failed radiation, that has metastasis now from the primary of breast to now the brain, the scalp, the spine, the liver, the lungs, the spleen, with multi-organ system failure, going to renal failure, hepatic failure, and given less than 3 months to live, why does she live 12 years after treatment? What is the difference? Why is that? And it really comes down to forgiveness, to remembering why we were put on this planet, that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And when you start to realize from the moment that you were born that you're dying, and I tell all my cancer patients, I say, I have bad news for you, you're going to die. And so am I, and so is every one of my staff members. So don't make such a big deal out of it, okay? We're going to all die, so what are you worried about? And some people may not understand that. I've had people look at me harshly like, what are you talking about? But here's the thing. When you put it into perspective like that, all of a sudden the fear of death starts to dissipate. And this is all about fear. So empowering everyone, and this is an event that Ty is doing, and Charlene and his partner John, you guys are empowering everybody here. And so for that purpose in itself, you're creating. Every time I think about this event, I'm going to think positively about Ty, which is hard. Well, compared to most people over here, I've probably known Ty pretty long compared to most people, but I'll tell you that thought that I have towards Ty, or towards John, or towards anybody that's I'm friends with over here, it's a prayer. It's an intention. And so each time we deal with our patients, that's something that we need to remember as clinicians. So I would like to thank people like Mike Adams, like Tony Jimenez, a close friend for years, for probably almost a decade, 2 decades. For Sherry Tenpenny, another close friend. People that I haven't seen in a long time. For Robert Scott Bell, who I talk to all the time, who's probably one of the few people that actually walks the talk, better than I do sometimes. So for people like that, and you guys are my inspiration in each different ways, except for you, Ty. Somebody once said, you guys have a love-hate relationship, and I said, no, we have a hate-hate relationship. Actually, Ty and I are too much alike, probably brothers from a different mother type of thing, but I want to thank you. I think that I want to thank my wife, because she's what allows me to to move forward. I want to thank the Creator who allows me to move forward, that gives me another day on this planet. And I want to thank you, Ty, specifically, of course, Charlene, you, and John, you, but I want to say something to you in my last few words. I didn't know your parents, but I think I can speak on their behalf that they would be very proud of you.
Amen. Thanks.
And I thank you for giving us all an opportunity to do what we do and allowing the world to know what we all do. So for that, I appreciate you.
Thanks, John. Thank you, Dr. Batar. We have 2 more awards. I can honestly say that the truth about cancer would not be here today without this next man. Robert Scott Bell has literally facilitated interviews and introductions and you name it with 50% of the people that I interviewed. And I'm not exaggerating. And so without Robert, we would not be here. He's a dear friend. We have a radio show once a week together. He is on 6 days a week on GCN and Natural News Networks, syndicated radio show host, and he fights for our health freedom each and every day with the power of the airways. And so it's Robert, with great pleasure and thankfulness towards you, that we present you with the tip of the spear in Health Freedom Broadcasting Lifetime Achievement Award.
Young enough and your kid falls asleep on you at a banquet like this, you shouldn't get a Lifetime Achievement Award. You should be like a semi-life something, part way there. But oh my gosh, blown away by this and the love I feel and experience here. Mary Beth, such good friends with Dr. Nick Gonzalez. The opportunity I've had in the broadcast media, I didn't realize what I was getting into, quite honestly. So many years ago when I was little, from 0 to age 19, I suffered one chronic disease after another, always met with medicine, modern medicine, allopathic medicine. I was raised allopathically. And I prayed to God through my teen years for healing because I suffered, I was in pain, I functioned, but that's all I knew. And God didn't send me healing, He sent me a healer. And that healer didn't heal me, that healer taught me how to heal myself. And from that moment forward, I realized that I had to do the same for others. And that brought me into a realm of communicating to my culture here in the United States, with which I grew up, things that I never learned growing up. And I found that I could speak a little bit, just a little bit. And got into broadcast media quite by accident and found it was kind of fun. And I began to meet people. And Nick was one of my heroes. In the 90s, I was reading about him. I thought this guy was so inspiring. Wouldn't it be great to one day meet him? And I went to a medical conference in New York City and broadcasted from that conference. And we met and immediately connected on so many levels. So much of his story with Dr. Kelly and my story with my mentor had a lot of similarities, albeit I went to a homeopathic realm. And it was just such an extraordinary thing that a man that I looked up to as someone that was almost too big for words because of what he had achieved already and what he was doing, became a friend. And that continued. I said, well, this is pretty cool. Maybe I should do this radio thing. I'll get to meet some more cool people. And others like Dr. Batman Gala, this Iranian gentleman doctor who was in prison, political prisoner, began healing his patients with water. And I thought, that would be a great guy to interview. And I interviewed him not long before he passed from this place. And gained inspiration from so many of these folks. And I found I could give voice to these people to get this message out, to help share this message, not only my own, because I became a healer in the homeopathic realm and began to do that as well, but that my story wasn't the story as much as it was yours, and everybody's here. And I've had many of you on my show, and if I haven't yet, shame on me, but there's still time. We got 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, so I got to fill it. I hope that you'll volunteer to come up and say, I haven't been on your show yet, let me know, and we'll get it going. We've got
some amazing folks like Dr. Vitar, who, you know, I met many years ago and narrated his first videos. And, you know, this guy is actually quite intimidating. He comes up here and he's like all nice and spiritual, but you don't know him like Ty knows. He's absolutely dedicated, and because of the story with his eldest son, who's not here tonight, dedicated his life as well. And he's, you know, a bulldog of energy that would not say, you know, it can't be done. In fact, when it's told that it can't be done, that's, you know, the moment you rise up and say, that's absolutely not the way it's going to be. And many of you here have faced that. Now, one of the things I've said on my radio show over the years is, it's just kind of a gentle reminder, stop asking for permission where none is required. And it's almost never required. I mean, once you're an adult, right, that's why we want to grow up, and we don't have to ask mom and dad if we can stay up late, have an extra piece of pie or whatever. You know, you're ready. And then we become adults in America, of all places, and we become subservient to political entities, economic entities that dictate to us what we can and can't do, what we can and can't know. I thought that just doesn't strike me as a very American ideal. Not that, you know, all people maybe on some level might yearn for some level of freedom, but I'm not going to tell them it's time for them to have it if they're not ready. But I would like to be an inspiration for those who really want it and remind them that it's theirs for the taking. And, you know, as Dr. Targi also mentioned, yes, this cancer paradigm that we're all dealing with is crumbling. If we do nothing, it will crumble. I don't encourage you to do nothing, but it will, because it's on a foundation that is not sustainable. It never was. We're here today, in many ways, some of you, most of you are pioneers, and you're paving a way that it's been a long time in the making, a long time coming. And, you know, say what you will about Vitar, he connected us together, Ty. You know, that's got to count for something.
Yeah, that's true.
Love there, right?
That's true.
Except it took a few years extra than it should have, I'll just say that. And if you haven't met Casey Krejci, Ty, you've been hiding Casey from Vitar? Is that what,
We'll introduce later.
Yeah, I'll get a little later. And you let me in here without medical issues tonight. You know that.
Yeah.
We got some fun stories
Good story.
there going on about. But listen, I'm very inspired as well by my friend Mike Adams. He also, you know, witnessed and heard me on the radio so many years ago. I was at very mainstream radio, appearing on the Michael Savage show regularly and other shows with a message that you never heard. And I just didn't know what couldn't be done. Perhaps that's a kind of a naivete. That's a good kind of naivete. Never listening or allowing those to say it can't be done to enter into your consciousness or your DNA. And Mike saw that, and, you know, we launched, when he started National News Radio, an expansion from once a week to 6 days a week. You know, and I want to thank my wife. God bless you and my kids, but my wife, who suffers immensely because I would never turn the microphone off if I didn't have to eat, occasionally sleep, and, you know, she suffered through a number of years of pain due to a dental extraction and neuralgia that we've been working on for years, and she still tirelessly takes care of me. I'm the third kid in some ways, in addition to my two there. But I'm just so blessed to be on this journey with you, Sherry Tenpenny. You know, again, these are heroes of mine that have become friends, colleagues. And I just, you know, can't stop smiling when I'm on the air realizing this message is resonating and that I have an opportunity to bring this out for any and all of you that we can to share. And Ty and Charlene, your family has been a blessing for our family. The connection has just opened my heart even more to realize that we are here to make a difference. And for those of you from Texas, if you anybody from Texas, and some of you, you'll understand what I'm about to say. This is for Sherry Tenpenny's behalf because, you know, with the Healthy People 2020, the vaccine mandates. Remember this: if they say you have to get this vaccination, tell the doctor bring the syringe, and then tell the doctor you're bringing your 45, and then say which one's going to make a bigger hole. And I know that sounds violent, but when they threaten you or your children with this level of violence, you have a right and an obligation and a duty to defend life. And this group here defends life like no other group, appreciates life, embraces it, cherishes it. And God bless you all for doing that. You're an inspiration to me, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it and to help to get the message out. Ty, thank you, Charlene, and the whole Truth About Cancer crew. God bless you. This is an extraordinary event. Thank you. I'm just humbled to be a part of it. Thank you. I'm going to have to turn this into a homeopathic remedy to fit it in the...
He said, I'm going to have to turn this into a homeopathic remedy to fit it in the plane. Last but not least, Burton Goldberg has been researching and writing and producing documentaries and books on cancer for decades. And he is known as the voice of alternative medicine. And I've known about Burton since I first began to learn about natural cancer treatments. He is one of the most recognizable names in this industry, and we are honored, Burton, that you're here tonight with us, and we present to you the Voice of Alternative Medicine Lifetime Achievement Award.
I never went to college, but I did a Second World War. And I earned an honorary doctorate in humanity through my book, Alternative Medicine, Definitive Guide. I did about 25 other books with doctors. And I owe all my knowledge to physicians in this room and all over the world and the suppliers. It has nothing to do with our medicine. It has to do with political corruption. And until we take back our government from the corporation, we're finished. We're owned, the government of the United States is owned by big pharma and big chemical and big agriculture. Lincoln, Department of Agriculture. Nixon, the EPA. FDR, the FDA. All those agencies that were designed to save our lives and protect us are protecting the industry rather than us. And who does this? The President of the United States appoints the leader of the agency politically. And they're usually hacks from the industry who escalate between government and industry. I don't see us taking back our government. In 1900, the average age was 49, only because 25% of children die before the age of 5. So we're only living about 4, 5, 6 years longer. And with antibiotics and everything else, and the great heroic surgeries, you know, there's two medicines. There's the emergency room and trauma, where they sew you up and keep you alive, greatest medicine in the world, and degenerative disease. And in degenerative disease, they're nothing but hacks. The oncologists of America are guilty of crimes against humanity. They serve them candy in the chemo room, which is tantamount to putting gasoline on a fire. Diet plays an enormous role. The biggest problem we have in this country today is what Sherry Tenpenny talked about, autism and Rashid Buttar. Autism today is 1 in 30 or 42 boys. In 1950, it was unheard of. In 1970, it was 1 in 10,000. I did a film on this called Greed that you can see on my website. And because everything I say, I give you the research. And on my website, burtongoldberg.com, the truth about vaccines. And it's a perfect storm. Autism, according to Semet, a leading scientist at MIT, in 2025, simply 10 years from now, will be every other child. Every other child. Every other child. Who can afford this? Who can pay the bills? We're being poisoned to death, and we're being starved to death in a land of plenty. And it's political corruption, from the president to the senators to the congressmen to the agencies that take money from the advertisers. When you take the autism picture, they don't do their research. They all mouth the same thing. We are in the life that we were brought up to think we would live will not exist unless we make a major change. And frankly, I don't see it happening. So I suggest that all the physicians in this room learn how to take care of theirs and their loved ones, because it's a Holocaust. And after studying medicine for 40 years, I've come to the dismal conclusion. Now, I don't happen to believe in organized religion, okay? But what's mentioned here is intent and prayer. Larry Dossey did a book, and we know that prayer works, regardless of who you pray to. But that's the research. Intent, quantum physics, that's all part of the same. So I thank you all for giving me the education to allow me to have this lovely award. God bless.
So go ahead. You wanna share, sweetie?
We have a very special girl with us, and I'm thinking that mostly everybody, if not everyone, knows her. Her name is Cassandra, and we've grown to love her. And I'm just going to give you a little background about who she is and how we became connected to this special girl. She was 17, and her doctors thought that she had cancer. And she had already done research, she and her mother, and they're pretty smart. And they already decided they were not going to go the conventional route. And so when the doctor recommended that they check into this and do this and that, they wanted to push for chemotherapy, which she said, no, I don't think I want to do that. Who here has heard her story? Yeah. Yeah, she's endured a lot. Did anyone here see the interview Ty did? Yeah. Well, for those that didn't hear it, against her will and that of her mother's, she was taken. Her house was surrounded by 12 police cars. And she got in her closet. She was scared. She texted her mother and said, Mom, there are police surrounding our house, come home. Her mother came home and said, what's going on? And they said, we're here to get your daughter. And they took her against her will and that of her mother's. And eventually they put her in the hospital against her will. And they forced her, it took 12 people, to force her against her will to get her on that hospital bed. And she fought. She's a brave, strong girl, and we are so proud of her. She fought. They sedated her, and they warned her the next day. They put a port in her for that chemotherapy against her will and that of her mother's. And the next time they went to force the chemotherapy on her, they said, well, if you fight with us, we're going to have to sedate you. And that means we can't feed you. So, what she did every day was she looked at those people that were forcing this poison in her body against her will and that of her mother's. She said, you are doing this without my consent. I do not consent to this. She could at least speak, and so she did. And what did they say? Well, I'm just doing my job. We've heard that one before, haven't we? She's now with us. We support her. We're proud of her. She's a wonderful young woman, and we want to support her health. She already knows about natural treatments, protocols, supplements, living fuel, beta-1,3-D-glucan, and a lot of other things. She knows about juicing and all kinds of wonderful things to bring health back to her body. And we brought her here because we're proud of her. And we know you're proud of her too. So Cassandra, can you please come?
We wanted to give you $10,000.
We're presenting her with a check for $10,000 to help her to be able to get the supplements and the different products that she needs to support her body and her health. And I think she's going to make some wise decisions with that. And
also,
we have a few other things too.
And yeah, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to call those up here, but Casey Krejci with Living Fuel has told us that he's going to donate. I'm not sure the amount. I think a year's supply of Living Fuel, whatever Cassandra needs. Reggie with Better Way Health, the beta glucan that AJ Lanigan developed, he's going to supply Cassandra with a year's supply of beta glucan. And then Paul Bertiero that owns the Echo Water company, he's going to give Cassandra an Echo Water machine for her home, as well as one other, the Echo Mist. Okay, so we've got some really generous men in the room that are going to add to this donation to help Cassandra with her nutritional supplementation, and we're just going to help her with her ability to put good stuff in her body. So Cassandra, we love you, and we're so proud of you.
You guys have just done so much for me, including me in your documentary and flying me out to Texas and flying me out here tonight. And I'd just like to thank you too, and everyone in this room who has supported me over the past year. It really means a lot because it's been really hard. And Annie, who is here with me tonight because my mom couldn't be here. I love you like a mom, and I'm so happy you're here. Thank you guys so much for everything.
Sons and daughters.